Hello everybody, welcome back to a new video. My name is Alvin1125 and today we are going to start off a series showing you how I have modded my Grand Theft Auto 5 with police mods. So we are going to start completely from the beginning. We have a completely fresh Grand Theft Auto 5 installation and I'm going to show you the exact steps broken down into very easy to follow parts on how you can install all the police mods that I use into your own Grand Theft Auto 5 installation. So to start with, we are going to install the LSPD First Response mod. And to do that, we are going to need to prepare a few things. So the first things we are going to do are, we are going to go into our folder where our Grand Theft Auto 5 folder is located. So for you, this might be a little bit different, because I have the retail version of the game, you might have the Steam version of the game. If you do have the Steam version of the game, it is probably located inside of your Steam folder. And if you have the retail version of the game, it is probably located inside your program files / Rockstar Games folder. So for me, it is going to be inside Program Files Rockstar Games. And as you can see, I have already got a completely fresh Grand Theft Auto 5 folder right up over here. You are probably only going to have one Grand Theft Auto 5 folder. So before we start, I heartily recommend you copy this, just like that, and you paste it up over here again. I'm not going to do that now, but I recommend you do that. And then it'll copy your clean Grand Theft Auto 5 folder. And you'll have a completely clean copy for if you want to play online or if you want to start fresh. So that, I have named my Grand Theft Auto 5 online folder. That is this. This is a completely clean version of the game. And if you ever want to roll back to a clean version of the game, you can just go into this, copy it again, and do with it whatever you want. So before we start, I heartily recommend doing that. So now that we do have a backup of our Grand Theft Auto 5 folder, and we know where it is located, we can start preparing our downloads. So we are going to be downloading a lot of things, so what you are going to need to do is create a new folder somewhere on your computer and reserve it for Grand Theft Auto 5 mods. As you can see, I have placed that folder inside of my downloads folder. So for me, it's really easy to access. It's in downloads / Grand Theft Auto 5 mods. So that is just something I can easily remember. I recommend you put it somewhere you can easily remember as well. So everything we download, we are going to be putting into here. And we are also going to be sorting it into categories, as we see later. And you are going to really be very thankful that you did that later on when you've downloaded a lot of stuff. So now that we have that all prepared, we are going to go over to the LSPD First Response download page. And we are going to start installing the LSPD First Response modification. So we are here on the download page. A link to this will be in the description below. We are going to click download this file, and it is now very important you click and do exactly as I do it. So we're going to click agree and download, and then we are going to select download on the manual install option. So you can see there are 3 options. We are only interested in the manual install option. The other 2 options often introduce problems, so make sure you always select the manual install option. That will definitely always work. The version might be different for you, you might be watching this on a newer version, but just make sure you have the manual install option. So we're going to click download right up over there, and you might have to fill in a captcha. I don't need to do that in this instance, and your download will start. So as you can see right now, I am right inside of my Grand Theft Auto 5 mods folder, and I am going to create a new folder, and we are going to be calling it plugins. So this is the first category of modifications that we are going to download. LSPD First Response is a plugin, so we are going to be downloading it into the plugins folder, and we're going to click save, and our download will start. If you have downloads set to automatically start, make sure you copy it over to the download folder we have just created, and then into the plugins folder as well, just to keep your stuff organized. That is very important in the long run. So what we're going to do is we're going to navigate back to our Grand Theft Auto 5 mods folder. As you can see, we now have the plugins folder there that I just created, and we have the LSPD First Response 0.3.1 manual install.zip file. So now it is important that you have a program that can unpack zip files. So I personally recommend WinRAR just for the purpose of extracting RAR files easily, and it is pretty easy to use as well. If you have a personal preference for a extraction program, feel free to use that, but just make sure that you have one. If you don't have one, download WinRAR. The link will be down below in the description. So we are going to double click this file, and as you can see, it's going to open right up over here in WinRAR. We are going to click extract to, and we are going to click OK. Should be alright with the default settings, and it's going to extract. Now once it has extracted, you are going to navigate over into the extracted folder. So for me that is going to be right over here. And as you can see, we have all of these files very nicely inside this folder, and we are going to need all of these. So what you are now going to do, very easy, is you are going to go into this folder, you are going to select all of these files using the Ctrl-A key binding. As you can see, they are now all selected. We are then going to right click and select copy, or you can do Ctrl-C on your keyboard as a shortcut. And we are then going to go over into our Grand Theft Auto 5 folder that we are going to modify. So this is the Grand Theft Auto 5 folder that we are going to install LSPD First Response in. We are going to right click and select paste, or you can do Ctrl-V on your keyboard. And as you can see, everything is going to be copied into here, and all the files that were in the download of LSPD First Response will now also be in your Grand Theft Auto 5 folder that you are going to modify. So we have now installed the LSPD First Response files. However, we are not done yet because we still need to install RAGEPluginHook. So in case you don't know, RAGEPluginHook is the software that makes your Grand Theft Auto 5 be able to run mods. It is very important, and it is also often updated. So the version that is included with LSPD First Response, which is over here, this is very out of date. So you always have to make sure that you go over to the RAGEPluginHook website and download the latest version, which is always going to be at the top of the download section. So whatever is over here at the top is going to be the latest version. Again, a link to this website will be in the description. So what we are going to do now is we are going to download the latest version, and we are going to save it also in our plugins folder for convenience. So we are going to save it in our Grand Theft Auto 5 mods and then plugins folder. We are going to click save, and it is going to download, and we are going to open it. We are going to extract it. And as you can see, now that I've extracted it, there is going to be a new folder over here, which is called RAGEPluginHook, and then whichever version you downloaded, which should be the latest one at the top. So we now have all of these files over here. What we now need to do is pretty much the same as we did with LSPD First Response. We need to select Ctrl-A on our keyboard to select all the files. We're going to copy these files using the Ctrl-C key binding or the copy. And we are going to go into our Grand Theft Auto 5 folder, and we are going to press Ctrl-V to paste it, or we can right click and select paste from the menu. And we are then going to click replace all files in the destination. As you can see now, RAGEPluginHook has overwritten the old files that LSPD First Response downloaded. As you can see, we now have the pretty recent version, which is from the 1st of January 2017, which is pretty recent, so that is all installed correctly. So what you should now also have is a plugins folder inside your Grand Theft Auto 5 folder. So what we now are going to do is we're going to navigate into this folder. We are going to right click, we're going to go into new, and we are going to select new folder. And what we are going to do is we are going to name it LSPDFR, just like that. To make sure you do that, you need to have the LSPDFR folder inside of your Grand Theft Auto 5/plugins folder. If you already had it, then you don't need to create it. As long as you have it, then it is all cool. And this folder can be empty, that is no problems at all, as long as you have it. So what we are now going to do is we are going to go over to our Grand Theft Auto 5 folder again, and we are going to go down over to the RAGEPluginHook.exe file. So whenever you want to play Grand Theft Auto 5 with the LSPD First Response modification, you are going to have to use RAGEPluginHook.exe. So we are going to double click this, and that is going to launch. And the first time it launches, it is going to say that it has found a lot of blocked files. So what are we going to do? Do you want RAGEPluginHook to unblock these files? We are going to select yes. And then it is going to continue loading. As you can see, our message over here has just popped up on our thing. It might not always come up on the front, so make sure you check your taskbar to see if the RAGEPluginHook icon is there. You can open it over here. Read the disclaimer. If you agree, click accept. I presume you will agree because otherwise you cannot use it, so click accept. It will launch. it'll do its first time initialization, and after that it should check our dependencies. If you don't have one of these installed, it'll tell you and you'll need to install those, but that is all listed on the RAGEPluginHook website. And after that, it is going to ask us if we want to back up our game version. So yes, we always want to back up our game version. Never click no, always click yes. You're going to thank me very much in future when Grand Theft Auto 5 updates. So make sure you click the yes option. It is going to then do a backup of our current Grand Theft Auto 5 folder. It's going to do its thing for a small while. We are just going to wait for that to finish. It's going to finalize. And once that finishes, it should be presenting us with a new screen. So we are now going to be greeted with the RAGEPluginHook settings window. I personally like clicking the Disable Permanent Version Text Rendering option because it reduces the clutter on your screen. So I personally recommend checking that. As for loading plugins on startup, I will just leave it at the default option for now, but you can change it so that it automatically loads the LSPD first response modification yourself if you wish. As for advanced settings, make sure all of these options are not checked. That is very important. And especially, you don't want this option checked. You don't want the enable countermeasures against online vehicles being removed in single player, sorry. You want this to be unchecked, so make sure you have that unchecked, because otherwise your game will crash. And when we go over to game settings, that is going to have this. When we open the backup game version menu, then it'll allow us to back up our current version. And when we go to revert game version, you see that we have just created a backup and that is listed up over here. So if you ever mess up our game, we can always click the revert button over there and it will revert back to where we are. If you haven't backed up your game version in the previous step, make sure to do it now and make sure that your current game is listed up over in the revert game version option menu. So once you've done all that and have looked through all the options, you can click save and launch. And it's going to say, this settings dialog can be shown again by RAGEPluginHook, then immediately hold the shift key until the dialog displays. So we're going to click OK, and then RAGEPluginHook is going to start launching the game, so it will now launch the game for us. If you ever want to go back into the settings, you can hold shift while you launch RAGEPluginHook. So it might pop up with this social club thing, always want to run it in normal mode, that is all going to work fine. And then it's going to launch the game. So if you are running a pirated version of the game, it will not work. You have to buy the normal version of Grand Theft Auto 5. It does not support pirated versions. You have to log into Social Club as well, so make sure you are running on a legitimate copy of the game, and you will be perfectly fine. And as you can see right now, it is going to launch our game. It is just hooked into our game. It's popped into the bottom left. It's going to disappear, and our game is going to launch. So I'm just going to show you exactly how the game launches and how the loading screen works. It's going to take small whiles. If you don't want to see this, skip ahead like 20 or 30 seconds or so we can continue with the next part of this tutorial. So as you can see now, it is going to run through all this loading screen stuff. I'm just showing you this so you know exactly what it should look like. As you can see now, it's going to say initializing game support, patching code, waiting for game, completing interoperability, and then it's going to say loading story mode, which is all going to be good. So right now it's loading the normal default GTA 5 story mode in, which is to be expected because it has to load the map and all the vehicles, pedestrian models, weapons, that kind of thing. So it's just loading the normal GTA stuff right now. It's now populating the game world, so it's putting the peds and weapons, vehicles into the game world where they should be, and afterwards it should let us into the game. Just wait for another short while and we should spawn right where our save game left us, which for me is going to be in Michael's house. So this is going to take another small while. I'm just again letting you show this just to know what it should look like roughly, just so you know what you can compare it to if your stuff does go wrong. So right now, as you can see, we have just loaded into the game. RAGEPluginHook Public Alpha is going to pop up. That's how we know that RAGEPluginHook is over there. So I'm just going to walk outside and I'm going to teach you how you can load a plugin in RAGEPluginHook. So, as you might remember, in the settings dialog of RAGEPluginHook, the console key binding was set to F4. If you changed it, that's on you. I've left mine to F4, so we are going to click F4. And as you can see here, this is the RAGEPluginHook console. Now you can do a lot of things with this console, like you can spawn vehicles, you can spawn and warp into a vehicle, and it'll give you even a list of stuff that you can select. You just press tab, and then it'll auto-complete the option. So that is how the console works. The command we are going to use is the load plugin command. So as you can see, I'm going to type LOA and it will pop up. We can just press tab again, and we can press space. And as you can see, it will now show all of the plugins I have installed. That is for me just going to be LSPD first response.dll. So I'm going to click tab again because I'm not going to type that all. It'll auto-complete it for me, and that is going to be done. I'm going to click enter, and it's going to load. And as you can see now, LSPD first response has loaded, it is initialized, and we can close the console again by pressing F4. So right now, at the moment, you are not yet playing as a police officer. We haven't gone on duty yet. There are multiple ways to go on duty, so I'm going to go over a few of those. The first way that you should do it is you can type the command go to PD, which teleports you to the downtown police station. I'm going to type that command in. And as you can see, we are teleported over to the police station. We can now enter the police station, and what you're going to do is you're going to go over into this room. You're going to go over into the right, and we're going to stand over here in the corner where the icon on the map is, and as you can see, we can press E to go on duty. So we're going to press E, and then we're going to get a very comprehensive character selector menu. You can change this to whatever you like. I'm just going to keep mine as it is for now. We're going to click select and exit, and it'll put you on duty. It should say that we are now on duty. It'll also say sometimes that there is a new version available, 0.31. That is a bug, actually. As you might remember, we did actually install the 0.3.1 version, so you can safely ignore that. And as you can see, it'll also say you are now on duty as a police officer. So this is the official way of going on duty. You will probably use it 1 or 2 times, and after that you'll use one of the faster ways of going on duty, as I will show you now. So we are currently on duty. If we want to go off duty again, what we need to do is we need to type unload plugin LSPD first response. There we go. So we are now out of the LSPD first response plugin entirely. We are no longer on duty, even though we are still playing as a police officer model. That doesn't matter, we are not on duty anymore and LSPD is not running. So what we are going to do now is we're going to load it again. So load plugin LSPD first response, just like that. And the second way you can go on duty is you can start running. You use your keyboard, you hold shift, you start running with W, you jump with the space bar, and while you're in the air you press F9. And as you can see, it just changed our model again, and it says we are now on duty as a police officer. So that means we have now gone on duty in a fast mode without having to go all the way into the station going through all those menus. So you can do this from anywhere. Just run, jump and press F9. And there is then one last way of going on duty, which is the simplest way. So we're going to unload the plugin again, we are going to load it again, just so we are back in a fresh thing. So we are now playing as this model. We've just loaded LSPD first response. We are not on duty right yet. What we can do is we can type the force duty command. And as you can see, without changing your character model, sets you as being on duty. So we're going to hit enter, and it should set us on duty, and as you can see, it didn't change our model this time. So this is the simplest option of going on duty. It doesn't change your model like the jump F9 option does. So once you have done this successfully, you have successfully loaded into LSPD first response, you will start getting callouts. As you can see, I am getting. You can accept those by pressing Y. But you have now installed LSPD first response successfully. So to wrap up what we have done in this video, we have installed the LSPD first response modification, we have installed the latest version of RAGEPluginHook, we have shown you how you can organize your modification downloads properly, and also how you should back up your Grand Theft Auto 5 folder, so you also have an online folder available. We've also gone on how to launch RAGEPluginHook for the first time, and how to customize your RAGEPluginHook settings, and also how to back up your game installation using RAGEPluginHook. And lastly, we have covered how to load LSPD first response in-game, how to use the Rage plugin in a console, and we have covered 3 ways of going on duty. We will definitely be continuing this series on how to install Grand Theft Auto 5 police mods, so if you are interested in future episodes, make sure to check the link in the description or check the card in the bottom right. We will be covering some very fun, more advanced topics there as well, and eventually you will be able to create a game setup just as I use in my videos. So thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video.